time to give the people what they want. It's Jalen and Jacoby.
He is Jalen Rose. What up, Dow? I am David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
We're Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN 2. What do we do?
Give the people what they want.
We always give the people what they want. One thing we don't do is lie to the people.
Never.
We pre-tape the show today. You are watching this right now on ESPN 2. Game 7 is either going on and you made the right decision because who needs to see Game 7 of the World Series when you got Jalen Jacoby on another channel, or you're watching a re-air of this and Game 7 is over. However, right now, there is a man that is very intently watching Game 7. There is a mystery bettor in Las Vegas who is making millions of dollars betting on the World Series. R.J. Bell first reported on Tuesday that there was a man in Las Vegas who was 5-0 betting on the World Series games. He then put $8 million on the Dodgers to win Game 6. He won that. He now has an estimated $14 million. He's younger than 30, he's Eastern European, and he's spreading bets all across town. Jalen Rose, if you had $14 million riding on the game, where would you watch it? How would you watch it?
I think I know who this is.
Oh, you do?
And that description ain't accurate.
Oh, okay. Who is this?
The same person who I would be watching the fight with. The same person I would be watching the game with. It's Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd. Yeah, it's definitely Floyd.
It's Floyd Mayweather.
It's definitely Floyd. He's the only person that would bet on this.
That's all this is.
You know what the Eastern European stuff is? Just throwing off the IRS.
No question.
He doesn't want the IRS to get involved.
Question.
He doesn't want anyone to know he's betting $14 million.
Fellow Michigander, newly retired, pays attention to the sports landscape and will bet 7 figures on basketball, football, himself. You might as well at him right now and let him know Jalen and Jacoby know that's you.
We know that it's you. Here's the thing. Can't you just keep the $14 million and just watch Game 7? Maybe bet $100 on it. Like, if you got $14 million, why are you gambling it again?
Because at this point, he feels like he knows who's going to win. They're playing at home. They got a chance to bring Kershaw to the dugout if things get tight late. And that could work both ways. It's going to be interesting to see for his legacy if he's brought in late. Kershaw's able to close out the deal.
I would just
Series.
like to congratulate the Dodgers right now, you know, because this is going to air after the game's over. I'm pretty sure the Dodgers are going to win. It's here in Los Angeles. They got all their pitchers ready. Puig hit a couple home runs. Congratulations to him. Tormund. What do I call him? Tormund. He hit a couple home runs. The Dodgers won. You know that, right?
So I'm going to flip the page, and I'm going to go with Houston. I truly am. And not just because I played with a couple of Texas boys in college at Ray and Jimmy, and our theme song was the Ghetto Boys, and I know UGK represent Texas, so they all made me feel when I was young like I was a part of that culture.
Oh, so you think so?
Jake
Houston
Prince.
won. So you're going to congratulate Houston?
Yeah,
on
I'm
their world.
congratulating Houston.
I'm congratulating Los
Throw
Angeles.
it up.
Dave McMenamin
Many
is reporting that after a 3-4 start, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a, you'll never believe it, players-only meeting. Now, we don't like meetings on this program. We don't have a lot of meetings on this show, but it seems like the Cavs love to have a lot of meetings. Why are they having so many meetings? Take us behind the curtain. What happens in this meeting?
Here's what happens in this meeting. There's one major distinction as it relates to this team. Was LeBron in the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, well, it ain't a players' meeting.
You'll never
He's part of ownership.
You'll never believe this. Dave McMenamin is reporting that LeBron was vocal in the meeting.
No.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I wonder who called the meeting.
I wonder who stood at the front of the meeting with a PowerPoint.
Like a teacher in the classroom.
Exactly. This was LeBron having a lecture. Is
No
what
question.
It was. You have to raise your hand to speak if your name's not LeBron James.
Absolutely. I'm the reason why each of you guys are in uniform.
How often do you guys have player-only meetings?
It depends on how bad your squad is.
Yeah.
And or if you're meeting expectations. What do we gauge success on?
Realistic expectations.
What are the Cavs' expectations?
They got to win the championship.
Okay. 3 and 4, you ain't on your way.
That's not it. That's not it.
Okay. And so you're having a lot. Here's what the Cavs are going to have to get used to. And this is interesting.
Injured players?
No. Playing with a squad of individuals who don't have a championship pedigree.
Ooh. Oh, wait. Dwayne Wade? There's a lot of people on that team that have rings.
You're integrating Derrick Rose. You're integrating Jeff Green. These are people that you're really going to rely on.
Isaiah Thomas eventually.
But here's the true problem for the squad. The pillars of their defense are Derrick Rose and Kevin Love. Rose isn't going to contain the ball, and Love isn't going to rim protect. And in the NBA, if you can't stop me, off the bounce, and you can't stop me at the hoop, I'm getting buckets if I get hot. And that's their issue, along with the fact they're not making threes at a rapid rate like they were last year.
Well, Ty Lue said Tuesday that the guys were not having fun. Guess what? When you're losing, you're not having fun.
Correct.
Losing's not fun.
And also, they don't have Kyrie to close the game.
No.
That's something they got to figure out
LeBron says
as
he's
well.
out of shape. He needs to play more minutes.
And also,
is what he's decided.
don't forget that they traded Kyrie for another guy that averaged 30 points a game that's not playing.
Yeah, he's not
Isaiah
there.
Thomas.
He's not there. Great Halloween costume, though. So earlier this week,
We won't easy.
the Sixers declined to pick up their fourth-year option on Jahlil Okafor, who has not seen the court that much this year at all. Here's what he had to say, quote, "I've asked for a buyout. I had a Brian about that yesterday just because I want to play. I know that's not here. I know a buyout is one of the options where I get an opportunity to play elsewhere and the court. But Brian didn't think it would be a good idea because he said they would be giving me away for free, but that's pretty much where we stay now. I'm just worried about my career. I want to be on the court."
I have word from my fellow NBA brethren.
Okay, what's that?
Jahlil Okafor. I've been in this situation. First round pick of the Nuggets, starting in the playoffs, playing in the rookie game, breaking the team's all-time assist record for a rookie, coming back second year, trying to continue to get better, leading the team in assists. Then I got traded to Indiana. And you know what happened that year? DNPs.
Larry Brown year.
15. So my advice is, number one, don't do anything where they can find you when they're not playing you. Don't be late for practice. Don't be insubordinate. Don't be popping off. When you go to the game and you have on a jersey, but underneath it you have black sleeves on, I've been there in Indiana. I've been there in Phoenix. That's before the game, you know, regardless of the score, regardless of foul trouble, regardless of the matchups, we could be up 20 or down 20. They're not putting me in.
Really?
You know what that means? They're trying to nudge you out of the league. So you have to find a way to persevere psychologically, emotionally, get through it, and then find another opportunity elsewhere. Because I think on the box in particular, he can get buckets.
Coming up next on Jalen Jacoby, Kyrie Irving says he wants answers. Says he has some questions and needs some answers. Guess what? We did some actual research and we have those answers for you, Kyrie. Good news. Keep watching Jalen Jacoby. After Monday, you know what I mean? I went home. I poured myself a glass of wine. And
you relegated to wine? You felt that bad?
And I looked at my wife and I said, I'm going to have to quit the show. I looked at all my kids and I said, I can't quit the show. I said, Jody, I don't know what to do. They played jazz all over the show today. I can't do this.
Elevator music.
I got to take a stance. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, we reviewed a lot of athlete Halloween costumes, and this one athlete, Kristaps Porzingis, actually went as himself for Halloween. As you can see right here in this picture, here he is, a unicorn mask. BT has been dubbed the unicorn, first by Kevin, but we've all accepted that. He also has other interesting things to say. He's been kind of tearing it up this year. You know, he's leading the league, points and such, and scoring a lot of buckets. But he said this to a Latvian website, Sporta Centers, which we might have some legal problems with, but we'll go on from there. I guess ESPN lawyers are not checking Latvian website names. But he told Sporta Centers that he didn't go to the exit interview with the Knicks because he wanted to stand up against Phil Jackson and said that Carmelo and the other players would not do anything to stand up against Phil Jackson. Interesting information. How do you think that him not going to the meeting contributed to Phil Jackson's ousting?
It contributed a lot because if you're the owner of the squad, you see this 7-foot ball player that's so young in his career that can shoot from 30 and dunk over the top and has shown so much promise to be the future of the franchise, yet we're advised by Phil Jackson, who you gave $60+ million, who, by the way, you did it when the fans were picketing your ouster as the owner. Ended up being a smart move. I've been talking about this for years. And then the next domino was what? Phil signed Carmelo. But the only way to get Carmelo to come back was what? Give him a no-trade clause. So you have him on the roster, you have Phil on the roster, you're paying them top dollar, but you're not actually turning a basketball team over to your best young player. And so for him to make that move, it clearly was a catalyst for not only Phil to leave, but for Carmelo to waive his no-trade clause.
Was it also a little bit of a sneak diss shot at Carmelo that he was telling a Latvian person, not thinking that the American media would ever see it?
I don't think it was a sneak diss. I think he was being factual. I like the fact that he embracing his nickname. The Knicks have shown some promise. Scott Perry's done a really good job of putting together Tim Hardaway Jr., Cantor's being a really good contributor. His personality, Cantor, is going to be welcomed in the New York market. He's really outgoing. He has a good personality. And this is not for everybody, but on Halloween, certain men take the opportunity to be fools, and certain women take the opportunity to be freaks. He was kind of like in the middle.
Okay. Kyrie Irving was on Gino Auriemma's podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. So Kyrie's on Gino Auriemma's podcast, and of course he was asked about the flat earth stuff, where he continued to double down on his stance that the earth is flat. He has not seen a real picture of the earth, according to him. But that's not the interesting part. What I found most interesting was what he had to say about the moon landing. He's moved on from the flat earth thing, and now he's questioning the moon landing, and here's his reasoning.
Like literally as simple as this. Why is it that the shoot, like the steps in terms of the pictures that they say he stepped on, why do they look completely different than the ones that are actually in the museum that he walked with? I just want to know. I just want to know these things. I have questions. Like, I just want to know.
Kyrie, you just want to know. You have questions. Well, guess what? Here at Jalen Jacoby, we actually did some research, and we have answers for you, Kyrie.
Yes, indeed.
He's talking about Neil Armstrong's boots, and he's talking about this particular photograph of the footprint moon. You see it, those lines in the boots. There's a picture of Neil Armstrong's suit. That is not what the bottom of his boots look like. That's what Kyrie Irving is questioning. Here's the thing, Kyrie. Those aren't Neil Armstrong's footprints. Those are Buzz Aldrin's footprints. If you look at this photo of a side-by-side of Buzz Aldrin taking the mission to the moon, you can see the feet are the footprint. So, Kyrie, you have questions. We've got answers. There you go. What's next, Kyrie?
Drops the mic.
What's next, Kyrie?
Just let it go.
For real, just let it go.
That's the whole thing. I appreciate that Gino well-deserved has a podcast and that Kai went on there to talk about this topic. I'm not a master of astrology by any way, shape, or form, but at least I know that.
You know that. Do you believe that human beings landed on the moon?
I did.
Like, what percentage of you believes that the human beings landed on the moon?
I don't want to go. I ain't getting in the spaceship. That's space shuttle. That's cultural for real. Let me see what I want to do today. I want to go to the moon. How far is that? No, I'm good. I don't even want to get on a roller coaster.
So, after an awful showing from Trevor Siemian on Monday night, in which he just threw interception after interception, looked terrible, the Broncos are now turning to the one man that can save this season. Great defense, good players at the skill positions, just need a quarterback. Do you know who they're turning to?
I do.
Brock Osweiler. Could this be the pivot point for Brock Osweiler, where he saves the Broncos season?
This is the point where I'm like, seriously, Colin Kaepernick can't get any opportunity? This guy wanted life. As a subpar quarterback, played a couple of games for the Broncos when Peyton Manning got injured. They won the Super Bowl when Peyton was pedestrian, and he was on the sideline. He got rewarded initially. People always overlook this part. Denver was actually going to give him a big deal, and he turned it down. Houston decided to pay him more, so he left to go to Houston. He couldn't cut it there, and now look who their quarterback is, by the way, Deshaun Watson. And then he gets ousted to the Browns, who, by the way, can't turn in a trade request on time.
So so then the Browns just pay him to go away.
They pay him to go away.
They're like, just go away,
Denver
please,
pick
Brock.
him back up on the scrap heap. Now he in the starting lineup. Living in America.
The thing is he could actually succeed in Denver. They have a great defense. They've got good running backs. They've got good receivers. They'll probably do some sort of like dumbed down, simple offense for him. I could see him winning like 3 straight games with this team.
Living in America.
Well, you know who else is living in America?
Who's
Eric
that?
Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe famously said he didn't want to be there, said it was the hair salon, but he actually meant the Phoenix Suns. They don't believe him. They said that he's going to be traded. We all kind of waited for him to be traded. He never got traded, and he has now been paid $738,000 since they sent him home. This is according to Bobby Marks on Twitter. The amount will continue to increase $82,000 a day. Eric Bledsoe is getting paid to do nothing. Jalen, would you rather play for your money, or kind of like Eric Bledsoe, get some time off, paid vacation?
Look at the shelf life of an athlete. Not necessarily in the NBA even, because you see athletes playing longer. You see a couple of guys into their 20th season. Almost like a used car. And when you pick up the Carfax, every nick, every ding costs you money if you're the seller. Now all of a sudden you're the Phoenix Suns. You're not increasing his value by him not playing. Oh, and by the way, you rested him last year because you were tanking. So he didn't finish the end of the last year on the floor.
Yep.
He's not starting the beginning of this year on the floor. You can't move him. You send him home. I said this from day one. A paid vacation is what this is.
This is like when you get suspended from high school. They're like, you're in so much trouble that we're going to give you a day off where you don't have to come to school.
Yeah, I hate that. As the founder of a school, I hate that so much.
It didn't make any sense because my mom worked, so it's just like I just had a free day. I was like, oh, at least you can give me more time to get in trouble. Well, shout out to Eric Bledsoe. $82,000 a day is a lot of money.
Keep getting them checks, E-Bled.
That's a lot of money.
I
He's
ain't
definitely
mad at
getting
ya.
them checks.
I guess he was getting good advice from Rich Paul after all.
That sounds like it. A German man was in a movie theater. He snuck beer, not Dirk. I'm not sure this wasn't Dirk.
It sounds like you said snuck beer.
He snuck beer into a movie theater, and then he tried to open the beer bottle because he didn't have a beer opener. And you know the trick, you use a lighter or something to open it up. He used pepper spray to open it up. Released the pepper spray into the theater. The entire place had to be evacuated. Jalen Rose, was his mistake bringing the beer in the first place or trying to use pepper spray to open it?
His mistake was trying to use pepper spray in the first place. And also, you expose yourself to anybody that's watching you when you see a bottle and you're able to open it with a lighter. That means you're clearly smoking and you clearly drink a lot.
What are you doing, Dirk? Coming up next on Jalen Jacoby, A-Rod got some secret advice from Warren Buffett, and it's pretty boring. Welcome back to Jalen Jacoby, Jalen Rose. We have a
What
don't
up?
get fired topic.
Doe.
So, Lala Anthony was asked about strippers that were on strike in New York City. And the bartenders and the strippers were at odds because they felt that there was unfair pay going on between them. So she weighed in. She says that she tipped them both equally, right? And then she said this, that there's a cutoff age that she said is 40 years old for people that want to be, I'll call them erotic dancers. I find this to be completely wrong. I mean, if Tom Brady can be a quarterback until he's 45, you're trying to tell me you can't be a dancer? And you know what? Whatever makes you happy. Why are we trying to cut this off? Come on, la. So 2 questions. Number 1, do you believe there's a cutoff age for erotic dancers? Number 2, do you tip erotic dancers and bartenders equally? Because no one does that.
First off, you might as well answer the second question for me.
You tip everybody.
Okay.
But you're not tipping equally.
I'm not tipping
You're
equally.
not tipping equally.
Because there's a difference between somebody that's there to work and somebody that's there to perform.
Good point. Let's not get fired.
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, shouldn't be any age limit.
Shouldn't be age limit to anything.
In
If
any
the
way,
customer's
shape, or form.
happy and if the provider of the service is happy and the service receiver is happy, why we gotta have cutoff age? Moving on. I don't think we got fired there. The Knicks have a G League team. Okay, the Westchester Knicks. They've got a player on the G League team whose name, you ready for it? Max Hooper. His name is Max Hooper. He was born in February 5th, 1995. He's young. He's the guard for the Westchester Knicks. He went to Harvard and then St. John's and then Oakland University. Never a good sign. While he was at Oakland University, he told ESPN that he is the best shooter in the country. Is Max Hooper the best basketball name you've ever heard?
The best basketball name I ever heard was Magic.
It's not his name, though, Jalen.
That's
Not
his nickname.
That's his nickname. Max Hooper is the best real name.
Okay, so best birth name I ever heard for a player? Michael Jordan.
I might go World Be Free.
It just
because he
so-
did change it to that, so technically it was.
Michael Jordan.
World Be Free, I'm
It
going with.
has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Jalen, yesterday you
I like Kareem
co-signed.
Abdul-Jabbar.
We always co-sign power couples, but you rode for this power couple a little too hard. When we found out that Tom Brady and Giselle were going to go on Halloween as avocado and toast, you said it was a boss move. Now let's take a look at them dressed up as avocado and toast. Is that a boss move?
Is she smiling?
Yes.
Are they kissing?
Yes.
Boss move.
That's corny.
And let me tell you what
avocado toast. That's corny.
Let me tell you what ain't corny.
You're just saying that because he went to Michigan.
I'm saying
if he went anywhere else,
I'm saying that because
corny.
I'm saying that because they standing in front of that crib.
That's a good point. Now, you can tell on Instagram people always do stuff like that on purpose. You know, they took one picture, he looked at it, he's like, "Oh, that's us in front of a bush." Like, let's take it from this angle.
They had those outfits on for 10 minutes.
Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Great freight.
that's his nickname. In China, they have a different nickname for him. Let's listen.
So in China, everybody calls you letter bro. Letter bro, because you're so many letters for your last names. So how do you like this name? What's your thought on this?
This is my first time
Letter bro. Yeah.
that I heard that name, that nickname. It's cool, you know. In China, people call me like that. It's cool.
I like letter bro. It's growing on me. I'm growing on me. Finally, this. A-Rod got advice from one of the most brilliant financial
Take some advice from me. You got some on your nose, right here.
Okay, thank you. A-Rod got some advice
Put your hand
from
when you got some on your
one
nose
of
and people don't tell you.
We're running out of the show. So the show's going to end. I'm trying to set up this really important topic about Warren Buffett giving A-Rod advice, and you're just derailing the show like you always do.
Is it about
Terrell Reedus.
finance?
Yes, it's about finance.
Okay.
He gave A-Rod the keys to happiness and financial success, and I'm trying to give it to the people, give the people what they want, and here you are talking about my nose.
Forget the money. Marry J-Lo.
That's really good advice. That's all he